This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, all you crypto boomers, it is Paul and Bud back here after almost a month off for the holidays. Coming back and checking out this market. Bud, what an incredible month that we missed getting on here and talking about, huh?
I mean, it's what a great time to be in crypto. I think the world is starting to wake up to what this is. A new financial platform is being built in front of our eyes, and it'd be nice to take some people with us, as this kind of plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I made some notes before we started that our last conversation was December 14th. Bitcoin was at 19.3, Litecoin was at 80, and Ethereum was at 590. That's 1 month ago. And today, just round numbers, Bitcoin's at 39.5 with an all-time high in the meantime of almost 42,000. Litecoin is at 154 and Ethereum is at 1,226. What an incredible run in 30 days, something that you and I knew from being in this space back in 2017. We knew that it was volatile and could do this very thing, and we've been in a bear market for a few years waiting for this time. But what an incredible time to just watch what is happening, especially with all the negative in the world right now. I think there's a lot of people waking up to this space, to this investment space, and we're just getting ready to see the start. We're just starting this new bull run. I made a note here, and if we go to CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin at its current price, the market cap for Bitcoin is $738 million. There's a circulating supply of 18,600 ish. To get that to a $1 trillion market cap, $1 trillion for Bitcoin market cap, the price has to only get to $54,000, bud. And that is our next target, yours and mine, and the group that we belong to, that Jay leads. That is right in the wheelhouse of our next target, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we follow something called the emotional Wall Street cheat sheet, which is reflective of the price of assets are as a result of the human emotion of people investing in them. And what I found quite interesting is I've been following that for some time now, but I never really figured out that it's called the Wall Street cheat sheet for a reason, and that's because it's Wall Street that have these same emotions as you and I and others that are the investors. And so as we see this rise, I mean, it's a euphoric rise, that's for sure. But I have to confess that when we were talking last, I was in disbelief probably on the emotional cheat sheet. I kind of didn't want to dare think that this would happen.
Isn't that crazy? And I agree. To be honest with you, back in the 2018 time frame where we were learning about this cheat sheet, I was hoping that it would not happen because I didn't want to see all the pain that would be coming from the highs of that time to, let me see if I can show this, what you're talking about. It's not the best. It's not, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit.
Oh, there you go.
That is the Wall Street cheat sheet. Can't really read it that well, but I had a better image of it. Let me see if we can do it this way.
And as you're doing that, I mean, this is a cheat sheet that we've been following as part of our group with the Bitcoin Academy and our coach.
Right.
And we certainly have gone through all those different emotions on this sheet, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get to the top of the market, you're in euphoria. We pull back, it pops back up. We go to complacency, just need to cool off for the next rally. And then we go into anxiety and then denial and panic and anger. You know, I have to say I probably had almost all of those. Maybe not anger, but I don't know about panic either, but denial for sure, thinking, okay, it's not going to go all the way, you know, it's not going to do that. And then depression, you know, as a general statement, and then disbelief. And now we're, you know, if you take that and kind of look at a Bitcoin chart, and the funny thing is, you know, Jay talks about this is going to be a small blip, a small little bump, you know, at some point. And if we let me go to the monthly and see if we can just show this to show just how much this market can move. Look at
Wow.
that. So here is where we were talking about that euphoria the last time back in 2017. We were here thinking that, oh my gosh, you know, everybody's talking about 100,000 and $1 million, you know, so we're just going to hold on for dear life and let it go. And then all of a sudden this happens and comes all the way back down. Then we get a little bit of a push up and then it pulls back down. And now, I mean, we're just off to the races. And this has just happened in the past few months, bud.
Look at that. Look at that. So on that chart, what I can see straight away on the monthly is something we've been taught in our academy with the coach, is something called three marching soldiers.
Yeah.
And I can see that as clear as day. Now, what that is saying to us is at some point in the future, there is one hell of a move coming in. So
yeah.
Now, whether we get like this correction we're expecting and hoping for, because we've got a plan to get out and get back in again, trying to be clever. And let's see if that works out. But those three marching soldiers would suggest that there's a big move coming, and
absolutely
maybe a parabolic move.
And you know, Jay was telling us last week, I think it was. Let me go back to the daily and just show this. That when it got up to this 42-ish and it started pulling back last weekend, a bunch of retail traders were bailing. They were jumping out. Obviously, you and I weren't, or the people in our group weren't, because we knew this was coming. I mean, what a beautiful wave to come down, and the institutional investors were buying 100%. 68%, I think it was, of the retail investors were selling, and 100% of institutional investors were buying, somewhere in that neighborhood. So let me.
Yeah, I've just got a couple of points I'd love to make on that. For the baby boomers that are listening to this, I mean, the need to get training is absolutely the most important thing, because I had just this week exactly that same experience. My neighbor who I, told about Bitcoin when I was in euphoria back in 2017, he came up excited and said to me, "Hey, bud, I've just sold all my cryptos, every bit. I'm up." What was he up? 20% or whatever he was. He was excited. He was out. He doesn't have the headache of looking at crypto. Now he is in utter depression, watching this thing go up, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And so if he had some training, he'd have been in a much better, stronger position.
It is incredible. I had the opposite happen to me last week. Somebody came to me and said, "My gosh, look at this Bitcoin you were talking about a couple of years ago." He said, I think it's time for me to get into this thing. And I said, "Oh my gosh, don't do it right this minute." I said, don't buy in right now." "What do you mean? What do you mean?" I said, you need to join up with the Bitcoin Academy and watch the videos and understand wave patterns and, Fibonacci. It's not hard to understand at a basic level. You just need a basic level of understanding, and then just recognize where you shouldn't buy, especially where you shouldn't buy is just as important as where you shouldn't sell.
Yeah, and the second point, Paul, is I really wanted to make this point because for the boomers that are potentially, or all the audience that are listening to this, I'm going to say this now to everybody: you're going to get things wrong. And I got something wrong recently, and do you know, every year since 2018, when I looked at this, every single year, Bitcoin in January has a 20% drop off every year without fail.
Wow.
And this goes way back. So I did this research, and in 2018, I said, you know what? When it gets to 2019, I am not going to get, I'm not going to fall for this 20%. I'm going to make a profit. I'm going to get out and get back in after the 20% fall. And of course, 2019 comes around, and I'm too scared to do it because it's going up. And I'm like, right, next year I will do it. Definitely in 2020. Right, 2020 comes around, I don't do it. I'm too scared. And so I said, this is in stone now. I am going to get out for that 20% drop in 2021. So here we are, January 2021. It's a day before I'm expecting this drop because I've done the research and I'm thinking it's going to drop. And then the market booms up. And I'm like, oh, just wait. I'm too scared. And of course, it drops. And so the point I'm trying to make is that I've done all this research. I get it wrong. People are just going to have to live and get it wrong and be happy with it, because I'm, you just can't tell. It's an animal.
No, that's right. And, several of us have targets that we are waiting for it to get to sell some and then wait for a pullback and possibly double our position too. There's no guarantee to that though. When it gets to that target, we'll have to look at the charts and see what the market looks like. But even if we do that, even if we say wait till it got to $55,000 as an arbitrary number, and we sold, hoping that it would drop back to 25, 30, maybe even 20, to increase our position. There's no guarantee that it would do that. It could go right on up to 65 and then sell off. It could go up to 70. I mean, there's no guarantee. But the nice thing with our training is you formulate a plan. You always get ready to pivot. And even if you were to sell at a certain level, there's always other opportunities in other coins or other assets, crypto assets that especially in a bull market, that can make you money. So that's the beauty of the training and the psychology of the way that we invest, right?
Absolutely, yes. And in terms of the fundamental importance of Bitcoin, when I was talking about this in 2015 to my circle and my friends, they just did not get it, could not understand. It was silly internet money back then.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're in a world, it's 2021 that we're recording this, and we're in a world where your assets are not safe, and people are scared, and governments are getting a little bit more tyrannical around the world, and there's draconian laws coming out and blah, blah, blah. And so what is the need for this censorship resistant money that no one can steal off you if you know how to use it right? It's almost, the world is starting to kind of come around to the idea that Bitcoin is one of those asset classes that has a real value in the world.
Yeah, and one thing, you triggered a thought there. Isn't it incredible that we can take and have a wallet that we can put in our pocket and go anywhere that we want to go and be able to access it from any computer that we want to access it from, and not have to have a bank, not have to have other financial institutions involved. If I decide I want to send money to your foundation, Bud, to help people, then I can just pull that out, put the Bitcoin, the Litecoin or Ethereum, whatever you would take, and send it to you, and your foundation immediately has the money within seconds and minutes at the longest, with very, very small fees. And all of a sudden you've got those funds to immediately help people, not using a middleman per se that takes hundreds of dollars out of that transaction. It's phenomenal. The freedom that it gives is tremendous.
Yeah, Paul, I'm wondering if the banks are getting in. If you remember, in 2008, we had the credit crunch, and one of the big problems back then was the banks were not lending to each other. In a way, they've stopped trusting each other. But what Bitcoin, blockchain, and the whole crypto market does is it brings back trust with transactions. And so there's obviously, maybe the banks are starting to wake up to this, and possibly they're behind some of this charge with the other institutions that are FOMOing in.
Yeah, I think we can guarantee that the banks are on board with this now, because if they aren't, they're going to be left behind, and I think obviously that's not going to happen. You know, a couple of years ago, Jamie Dimon with help me out. Who's he? What bank?
Oh.
Big banks he wrote.
JP Morgan. I remember that. Yeah.
He was telling everybody what an idiot you are for investing in Bitcoin, while he had a group of investors buying Bitcoin as it was going down. So, you know, that's kind of sneaky. But do you have something on your screen you want to share? Because I will make you presenter and let you kind of give us some ideas of what you're looking at. Would that work?
Yeah, sure. Let me do that. I'll take the screen.
While Bud's doing that,
share screen. Yeah, here we go.
Perfect.
So I wanted to share this. This is something I've done on my charts. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Right. So I've done some analysis here. It's maybe a little bit challenging to see, but what I have on my chart is we are in a lot of different positions, you know, ranging from all these different altcoins. Now, I went through and did lots of analysis on the previous bull run in 2017. And what tends to happen, and what we know seems to repeat, is that money flows into Bitcoin. It's the king of all kings in the crypto market. It's currently, you know, over 70% dominant, which basically means that of the entire market cap of cryptocurrency, 70% is Bitcoin. But as that gets towards a high and investors start to get a little bit nervous, what happens is they sell their Bitcoin and look for something else to put their money in, and that's where the liquidity of that goes into these altcoins. And so what on this chart I've done is I've taken the time frame of when do the other coins reach an ultimate high when Bitcoin has reached its high, because there is a lag. As people pile out of a high on Bitcoin and pile into these other coins, and so the coins that are pumping pretty close to Bitcoin only 3 days after, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Gold, and this is based on 2017. And then the longer term ones are down here on this screen here. Digibyte, EOS, Ethereum Classic. And so what I was thinking is, with a bit of trading money, as we start to see a high on Bitcoin and there's this flood into altcoins, which we're hoping for, it is a potential strategy to switch between the ones that go early, and when they reach their high, then you switch into the other ones that are yet to kind of go, and do that for a few weeks of switching between these, and ultimately trying to capture a lot of different highs. And so I would say that don't anyone try this at home without the training you get from the Bitcoin Academy and our coach, but it's something to bear in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And you make a good point. The lag, that Bitcoin typically, and Ethereum has in the past just briefly, but Bitcoin is the leader, and it kind of is an overall sentiment of the market, and certainly will reach the peak of each of its waves prior to the altcoins. I love the way that you've separated that out. I'd like to get a screenshot of that. But
Yeah, absolutely.
that would be fantastic if you'd send that to me. But yeah, I love that. That's good information. And like you say, if you're not used to investing in cryptos, or if you're new to this, or you want to learn more about it, you definitely need to check out, and we'll have a link down below this video, but check out the Bitcoin Academy and what Jay can teach. But I'd say the most important part of the teaching, and before I started it, and I think I've talked about this before, but is the psychology of it, is kind of learning how to get your emotions in check, and actually using the technical analysis that you are taught to come up with strategies, and through the Bitcoin Academy, obviously, and all of the videos that the teachings that Jay sends out and the updates. I mean, it's a great way to kind of look at what he's showing us, and then looking at your charts and going, okay, I made a mistake here. He's looking at this differently than me. And nobody's 100% accurate. Anybody that says they're 100% accurate, you better run from them, because that is not true. Even if they've gotten the last 10 trades perfectly, it still doesn't mean that they're 100%, because nobody is, especially in this animal with Bitcoin. But I do think, obviously, that we are in a bull market now, and the exciting times to come definitely warrant getting some education into the crypto space, teaching yourself a little bit more about it, and at least thinking about diversifying a little bit. Certainly, we're not telling anybody to do anything, but at the same time, education is what we push. And to be educated in this space, to be educated about your finances and the crypto market in general, there's no better place than the Bitcoin Academy. Would you agree, Bud?
Well, absolutely. And just to show the power of what we have in this world of cryptocurrency, I've lived most of my life with expecting very small returns, deposits in the bank. And of course, what we say on this show is absolutely no financial advice. You get the training, but let me very briefly run through an example of a potential strategy that I'm considering. And if it works in theory, but based on the 2017 pump. And again, don't try this at home, really, because you could lose a lot. But imagine we get this kind of same strategy. So you take out something like $100,000 from say Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, just for example. So you these ones that are pumping early. You then take half of that money off the table, never put it back in, and you put half of it back in to the one that's now getting ready to pump, which is Komodo. And then I take half of that off when it pumps over its few days, because these move really quickly. You can see on this chart here. And then you put it into XLM, XRP, maybe PPT if it's not gone. But I keep doing that, goes from XRP, and then these laggards here, Cardano, Qtum, NEM, and Tron. And then finally, I'm putting most of that money into NEO. So basically, in my calculations, I've taken $100,000 and turned it into over $10 million in several weeks' time, assuming that this chart sticks.
Sure.
And I'm just showing that as the power you have in crypto. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Well, and let's just take this not a different direction, but to a different type of investor. Let's say you had $1,000, and you just did it with 1,000, because you can buy portions of Bitcoins, you can buy portions of all these cryptocurrencies. Just because Bitcoin is $42,000 doesn't mean you have to have $42,000 to invest. You can put $250 in, because it is fractional. So if you had the $1,000 using that example back in that day, you would turn 100 or 1,000 into 100,000. So you know, the strategy that you're talking about would work, you know, regardless of what you had. And so if it was something that you wanted to just have some play money and realize that, okay, I'm going to start with 1,000. If I lose it, I lose it. You know, once you've had the training and stuff, I think that that might be a good way. Again, like you said, we don't give financial advice, but these are just theories and things that we might be doing based on the education that we've received. But I do like that pivoting. It's kind of a pivot strategy where each time a group goes up and reaches a target, you take some out and pivot into the next group and ride it up, pivot out into the next group. That's a neat idea, bud. Good research there too.
But you need this. You need the psychology to do that, because I guarantee that you'll go through that process. You'll make this enormous wealth off a very small seed, and then you'll blow it. So without the training, that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to.
I know.
Give that, you know, because 90% of people are going to follow that and get it wrong and lose everything. But I'm of the opinion, you ride these up, take a bit out, put the rest of it into another one, ride that up, take it out. And this is what we've got our hands on. It's beautiful. What an exciting time.
No doubt. And I agree. Don't invest any money unless you've gone through the Bitcoin Academy to get some psychology and get some understanding of this market. So anyway, with that, let's go ahead and cap this one, about a half hour long. So that's pretty good. And we will get back together. It won't be a month. We'll get back together either in probably early to midweek next week, and we'll see where everything's been. In the meantime, everybody, all you crypto boomers out there, keep on investing. Have a good one. Thanks, bud.